Hi, friends. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sienna. I like to read a lot of books. I like to make lifestyle content. Rewind. Like to make lifestyle content as well as just sharing my life in my 30s. This month, this past month, it is now August. In July, I had a lot of free time on my hands apparently because your girl read 16 books in July. 16. I have not had a month like that I've read in over like maybe even 10 books in like forever. So to say that I got through 16 books is like a feat. Now, I did have a different variety of like books that I ended up reading. So I had a few physical books. I had books on my Kindle. I had a couple audiobooks in there. Your girl was just mixing it up. And I'm kind of like high key so proud of myself because your girl, I've been tired, I've been stressed, but you know what's going to happen? I am going to pick up that book. So, needless to say, this is my July wrap up. And then a little sneak peek of what I plan to read in the month of August as well. So, if you want to stick around and see what I read, come on, let's see. Starting, I'm looking at my Goodreads here on my iPad. So, the first book that I ended up reading was Situationship by E.M. Wilson. This actually was an arc that I received earlier in the year, and I finally got around to reading it, even though it did come out in June. I did read it. I gave it 4 stars. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite. It was definitely one of those friends to lovers type, this happenstance type thing that we like to sleep with each other, but also we need each other for a date for a friend's wedding type thing. It was cute. It was a little bit longer than I wanted to, especially when it comes to typical romances, but I did enjoy it and I gave it 4 stars. So the next book that I ended up reading in July was The Very Definition of Love. This was a Regency romance. So I ended up reading the physical copy of this after it did come out. It was actually really refreshing. I did have a good time reading the book. In this book, it definitely gives Bridgerton vibes, but with a lot more jokes. The idea of the book was that this girl, she's basically considered a what do you call it? Spinster for say she's the oldest sister and she's like not married. She's like, I'm just going to take care of my sisters. But the one thing that she did enjoy was writing a dictionary and she was collecting like naughty words, which was kind of funny. So she would go to the balls for research and listen around to like all the guys saying all these like dirty words that she's never heard before. And so she would ended up like collecting them. She ended up having a pen pal that she wrote to that was like helping her collect these words. And of course it was a man. He didn't know she was a man. It's a whole thing. But she ends up in the middle of getting what do you call it? Not exposed, but like, ruined at a ball after she was trying to collect information. And he was like, she had written some words on her arm and he was like, what are these words? What is going on? And so it was kind of weird happenstance, but they ended up, of course, falling in love. But it was a really cute book. Like I said, it was kind of hilarious. So if you want a good laugh in a Regency style, definitely would suggest The Very Definition of Love. The next book I ended up reading in July was the book that's actually been on my TBR for a while, The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, by Bridget Knightley. Now, this book, I had high hopes. I did read it in audio, which was an interesting choice because it definitely is giving very Regency worded styling. So as you're reading it, it's very European. And some of the words I was kind of like, huh? What? So I'm listening to it and I'm trying to like figure out what they're talking about. But the story at this core, it was pretty cute. Of course, it's a Hermione fanfic type style book. As you can see, the characters literally look like them. So it was okay for audiobook. I ended up reading it 3 stars. I feel like if I would have read the physical copy, it probably would have hit different. But again, I was still kind of like lost for a lot of the wording. It was just not my typical like style of romance that I did read. So, but it was okay. I didn't hate it. I got to the second one. So I'll tell you about that in a second. Then I also read Unsteady by Peyton Corrine. Now, This book, fun fact, I went to my local Books a Million a couple months ago, and they had the old covers of Unsteady and what was the other one, Unloved, on their clearance section for like $5. And I was like, you're coming home with me. I had received a art copy of the Undone book. No, Unbound. I think it was Unbound. Anyway, whichever was the third one in the series, and it has the newer cover. These two had the older covers, and they're all re-releasing with the newer covers. They're pretty cute, I will have to say. But I did get the original Unsteady cover. It was a little bit deeper than what I expected. It kind of gave me off-campus vibes, but I think I liked it a little bit more. I'm not a big fan of off-campus, but this one, it made more sense. Like, off-campus was like a little too far-fetched for me, just a smidge. This one was a little bit more realistic, kind of, because I think the main character is the ice skater, but she also takes care of her two kid brothers, because her mom is out of the picture and their dad is an alcoholic, which she's basically trying to meet the in between and like help the brothers. But in this one, I feel like in my head, I feel like CPS would have definitely got involved a lot sooner. Like, she's literally working a full, like, 2 jobs. She's a tutor, and she is like, is she tutoring? No, she's not tutoring. Her friend is a tutor. She's working like at a coffee shop. She's an ice skater. Her coach is low key kind of like abusive in the sense of like he's way too hard on her. There's like a lot of multi-layered things. So I really do think that CPS definitely would have got called earlier on in the book. But I don't think they even got called. Anyway, they needed help, and it wasn't true. The next books I read, I was so excited about these. I finally got around to reading because I love, the one thing I will be obsessed with to the day I die is a duology. I love 1, 2, and we done. A 1 quick 1, 2. I love it. So I ended up picking up the In the Veins of the Drowning by Kaylee Cassidy. And then right after, I had to read the In the Wake of the Ruined. You guys, if you want a good classic fantasy romance, one where the female main character is a little bit morally gray, like you don't know if she's evil or she's good or anything like that. It's kind of like, I don't know what's going on. This was it. Like, I ate these books up. I did rate both of them 5 stars. So if you liked something like The Second Death of Locke, or if you like the Shepherd King duology, I really do think that you would really enjoy In the Veins of the Drowning. And I think the In the Veins of the Drowning is on Kindle Unlimited, but the second one is not. So just be warned in that. But they're both in paperback, so you can go get the physical copies if that chooses to. The next book that I ended up reading this month was actually a book that I've had for a while, was The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. So I'm based in Houston, and Catherine Center actually does live in Houston, and I met her at a Barnes & Noble opening, probably like last year. It had to be like late summer last year. And so I've had the book forever, but I just haven't read it. It's signed and everything. She's also so sweet. So you ever get a chance to meet Catherine Center, like, she's so sweet. She was giving everybody hugs and everything, very personable. But I ended up listening to Rom-Commers on audio. It was actually very kind of, the title itself kind of tells you that it's going to be corny. It was corny, but I liked it. I didn't hate it at all. I did enjoy the corniness of it all. I feel like the brooding guy was a little too brooding at times, but for the most part, it was still like really cute and good. But speaking of really, really cute and good, the next book that I ended up reading after the Rom-Commers was The Summer Girlfriend by Christina Forrest. Now, I am a Christina Forrest stan, okay? Down bad. I read her Green Sister series, starting with The Neighbor Favor. Obsessed. I read them all like when they came out the day after. Like, I freaking loved them. I love her romance writing style. She kind of writes in like third person, which is different for a romance book, but this one just made my heart just like float into the heavens, and I was just, of course it's a fake dating trope, but like, this was like a fake dating trope that made sense. She is a girl who works at this used bookstore. This guy comes in looking for a book for his sister, and he sees her and he's like completely enamored by her. Comes to find out she actually does she rents her, I want to say rents her time as a backup bridesmaid, right? There's like a whole company she does it through. It's like an actual thing. And so she was talking about her job outside of her working at the bookstore, which she actually did get let go from, which was also a part of the story. But she's trying to go back to school. And one of the ways she was making money was doing the bridesmaid gig. She meets the guy at the bookstore, and the guy's like, "Hey, I know you do bridesmaid gigs, but can you also be like my fake girlfriend? I will pay you." The guy is filthy rich. And so she was like, "Honestly, you don't seem too creepy, but I'll give it a chance." Anyway, she comes to this one events with this guy, his family's beach house. And come to find out, his family owns a sweet company. And so this is called Smith's Sweets. And those are like her favorite desserts, right? And so come to find out, his family is like, "Oh, we want to meet your girlfriend," because he lied to his family about having a girlfriend. And he was like, "Bring her when you come to the beach house." And then ends up being not just one time, but all summer. So that he kept coming every weekend. It's kind of giving Summer in the Hamptons. But it was so sweet. I loved it. It's definitely a he falls first. But yeah, 10 out of 10, like 5 stars, down bad. I also got to go to the author event that they had here in Houston with Christina Forrest. She did come to town. I ended up pre-ordering this book, but I also ended up getting both copies. Did I get both of them signed or just one? Okay, I think I just got one copy signed. So I read the physical copy that was not signed, and then the one that signed is on my bookshelf. But if you want like a good like summer beach read that is just like lighthearted and just yes, 10 out of 10. Next book up in July. Fine, mind you, we're just on July 19th and we still have a good little stack to go. Okay, so the next book up that I ended up reading for the month of July was Unloved by Peyton Corrine. This is the second book in her series, her hockey series. Now, this one is about the best friend. The first one was about the ice skater. This one is about the friend. Her friend was definitely like a little nerdy, little pent up. They ended up being roommates, but she was kind of stuck on the idea of like her first kiss, and she goes to this party with her friend. Her friend is like her roommate slash friend was like definitely the cool girl in this sense. And so she goes and she ends up having her first kiss at this party, and she remembers the first kiss, but the guy doesn't. And so of course it's like awkward, but she like swears that like it was something there. She doesn't know. Fast forward to the future, she ends up tutoring him, and her boyfriend, on again, off again boyfriend, is a complete jerk. And he tries to embarrass her by saying, "Oh, she thought you were her first kiss, blah, 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 blah." Well, come to find out the guy actually does like her. And it's like their love story. And it's so sweet. And I was just like, oh, it's another one of those he falls first. Kind of, not really, because she kind of knew him first. Anyway, but it was cute. I did give it 4 stars, which is still kind of high on my part. I feel like I average about a 3.5, 4. I would say probably closer to 3.5 than 4 stars. Okay. Next on my chopping block, where is it at? Here it is. I finally got to read Metal Slinger. Now, my friend texted me last year and was like screaming at me and was like, "Hey, I just read Metal Slinger. I need you to read it. I'm freaking out." And I said, "Oh, I'll get to it." I started, didn't really finish it, but I finally got around to it because the second one came out this year. And I finally read this thing. I understand why she was tripping. I really do. I do understand why she was stressing out at the end of this book. I feel like it's like pirates, kind of, maybe. She gets kidnapped, not kidnapped, but anyway, needless to say, it's just a journey. It's fantasy romance. Who you think is evil is not who you think is evil, and everything seems to be a lie, and you just have to read it. You have to be there to understand it. That's all I'm gonna say about Metal Slinger. But it was good. Gave it 4 stars. I still have not started the second one, which is Light Wielder, but hopefully I should be able to start it soon. We'll see if it's going to be in my August TBR, but Metal Singer was okay. The next book that I ended up reading was Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stevens. I've had this book since it came out, but I finally listened to it on audio. I don't know about books like with different time jumps and stuff, but I feel like when they do have different time jumps, it's easier for me to follow along in the books if it is like what do you call it? So like if it has like more like different times, it's easier to follow along with audio rather than me in the physical book, because I'm really bad for like feeling lost and to like remember the times. And so what I did was I had it on Libby, ended up listening to it on audio. And then I think the last couple chapters I did pick up the physical book, and I'm glad that I did, because the last few chapters kind of took me for a win. If you like the Secret Life of Addie LaRue, or was it, no, it's not. It's not The Secret Life. What is it called? Now I can't even remember. Anyway, the Addie LaRue book, anything like that, where it's like people, infinite timelines, different things. That's what it kind of gives. But it's a couple, and like in every timeline, they kill each other. Crazy. I don't understand what it is. And then at the end of it, blew my mind. I feel like the twist at the end was crazy, but I feel like it could have ended a little bit different. Just a little bit. I don't know how, but the twist was still good. The twist was very good. Okay, so the next book that I ended up reading in July. Again, this is a lot of books, you guys. I don't know how I did it. Actually, it was my book of the month pick was In Stormy Weather by Chelsea Curto. This was cute. I didn't hate it, but also didn't love it. I gave it 3.5 stars. Of course, Goodreads doesn't have half stars, so I had to give it 4. But it was cute. It's like I want to say friends to lovers. It is friends to lovers. It's the friend's brother that she falls for. Well, he falls for her. He's been in love with her for years. She's a meteorologist. He's a meteorologist. He started in meteorology because of her, because he was obsessed with her, and she has no idea. Like, I don't know what it is about like blatantly oblivious women in books, but sometimes it really drives me insane. And I feel like this definitely did, because like most of their like banter was flirting, but she had no idea that him going back and forth with her was flirting. And it kind of was like, girl, you don't see this man is in love with you? Like, it really got to that point. But I don't know. I don't know. It was okay. Like, I enjoyed it. Like, by the end of it, I was like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. But like, jeez, man. Can you calm down? Like, chill, sis, chill. That's why I felt like the banter kind of, either you love romance book banter or you hate it. And this one was pushing it. And I hated it in this book, which a lot of people loved it for this reason, because I saw it on some TikToks and they were like, oh my gosh, it's so good. Their banter is amazing. I was exhausted. I was ready to get up out of there. Anyway, next on the chopping block is Ride With Me by Simone Solani. Sultani, yes. This is the second book in her Lights Out series, which is a Formula One like romance series, which the first book I love. This one was okay. It was Las Vegas, of course, elopement, marriage thing. I do love when the main character loves on a Black woman. She deserves all the love. And it was very interesting. He was a little UK bro, a little UK guy. He loved his little Black woman. That was terrible. But it was super, super cute. Of course, it was like elopement, but fake dating at the same time. They were like, we're going to stick with this until we can get a control of the narrative or whatever. But they end up falling for each other, which happens all the time in these Las Vegas style romances. Loved it. Had a good time. It was 4 stars. Was it a little bit wordy? Yeah, I feel like we could have got there sooner, but it was still a cute little story and I enjoyed it. After that, I did pick up the second book in the duology for the with the dearly betrothed, below below um duology, and it's the exquisite torment of loving your enemy. I will say this one was a little bit better than the first, but I feel like they lost the plot. I feel like the first one set up this really, really long plot, and then the second one lost it. And I was just like, why are we here again? Huh? I forgot. And that's what happened. Did I hate it? No. I did give it 4 stars. I enjoyed it better than the first one, but it was still like, how do we get here? Like, I didn't understand. And next, I did pick up the audiobook for Bottom of the Pyramid, a memoir of preserving dancing for myself and persevering dancing for myself and starring in my own life by Nia So. I love Dance Moms when I was growing up. Like, I feel like I was a little bit older than the girls on the show, but it was still like in that era of like dance being a big thing. I was a dancer. So of course it made sense for me to like watch Dance Moms. And I always used to say like, dang, Ma, you don't want to do this? And she was like, nah, you can forget it. But I always did say like them girls were strong, especially Dr. Holly and Nia, because them being the only Black girl in the class, I experienced that for years when I was a dancer. But seeing it on television and seeing it to that extent, there were so many things that she went through on that show that like blew my mind. Like watching it back then and then experiencing it through her words now, very impactful. You're like, dang, she was really out there struggling. I knew had a clue, but like some people really didn't have an idea of like how bad it actually was for her. So I'm happy she was able to put her words on paper, and it was a beautiful story. I feel like she was authentic to herself and her story overall. She did it without having to tear down anybody, and she was able to tell her truth. Definitely good. If you haven't read it yet, it's a quick little read. I did listen to it on audio. I had a NetGalley ARC for the audiobook. And so I ended up listening to it. It was really good. I enjoyed it. And she narrated herself. So shout out to my girl, Nia. I always think she's like my little cousin in my head. So shout out cousin Nia. And then finally, down to our last book of the month, I picked up Die For Me by Charlene Obui. Lord Jesus, I do apologize for last night. Charlene, my girl Charlene, she wrote the book Between the Friends and Lovers. That book was my book of the year last year. So much so that I reread it this year before this one came out. This one specifically, Die For Me, is a paranormal romance. Girl, when I tell you, for somebody who was absolutely obsessed with Twilight, this book was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just, it did what it was supposed to do. I had a very good time reading it. Had like a little mystery element to it because you didn't know like what's going on, what he is. So the idea is that the main character, Sean, she's a cardiologist. She's like in her 30s. She goes to her best friend's ex's wedding, and the best bridesman of the wedding gets up and does a little speech, and she's like, oh my gosh, she's gorgeous. She ends up like wandering the wedding. She's there for her goddaughter, which is their kid or whatever. And so she's there to support her. Her friend asked her to be there for her. So that's what she's doing. She's going to pick her up, take her home after the wedding. Makes sense, right? But she's not really friends with the groom anymore because he ended up cheating on her best friend, his ex-wife. So she wanders off in the wedding, ends up in this secluded room, finds a piano, starts playing the piano. This guy walks up to her behind her. It's the bridesman, the best bridesman. Okay. He comes playing piano with her, and the chemistry is strong. It's thick in the room. It's like breath away, and they almost kiss. And ever since then, she's like obsessed with him. Well, guess what? This dude starts popping up in her dreams. What? Like vividly talking to her, everything in her dreams. She doesn't know what's going on. Anyway, she comes and runs into him again. He finally asks her out. They start this whole relationship, but weird stuff starts happening, and she can't explain it. Again, she's very smart. She's a doctor. Like, she's trying to make sense of it all. She doesn't understand it. just read it. Just read it. He's not a vampire, but it has vampire tendencies. He's not a shifter, but he just have shifter tendencies. But you'll see how the story builds and kind of layers everything to make you not know what's happening until like the end. And of course, it gives like the whole it just does what it's supposed to do. It's like it's the adult Twilight for us girls, okay? Just letting you know. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. 5 stars. So I'm happy that I was able to finish off my month with a 5-star read because that doesn't happen very often. But Die for Me, girl, I loved it. I really, really loved it. Hopefully this month is as good as it was last month. I don't know if it will be, but we're gonna try. I have picked up a couple books so far. I finally got around to reading Crescent City, which is crazy because it's taken literally me forever to actually get to it. But I'm reading it before the new Avatar books come out. So I just finished The House of Sky in Breath. And then I also just finished The Misconnection by Tia Williams, another of my favorite authors, 5 stars across the board. It was a hilarious book. The Misconnection was absolutely funny. If you're not laughing, you're reading the book wrong. It was so good. Her jokes were great. It was literally like, it felt like I was watching Insecure reading the book. And I loved it. So if you need something like that, you need good laughter in your life, this is it. But thank you guys for sticking around with me and figuring out what I read this past month. Hopefully this month will be great. So far, we're off to a good start. Let's hopefully stay that way. But hopefully I get to see what else I can stumble across in my reading adventures. Bye, you guys. Have a good one.